Hey guys, and welcome back to Dominions 5 with me, Time and Tactics. As you can tell, we're not playing the actual game. This episode will be about, well, how to figure out what Marignon is all about, since we're going to be attacking Marignon in the next episode, and also maybe come up with an idea, or maybe a couple of ideas, or something, a strategy, how to handle them. I'm not an expert at the game. I know how to play the game, but I don't know the ins and outs of all the items, the spells, and the units, and I'm hoping I can learn a few things here. If you have any ideas, put it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to take a look at them. This is just what I have come up with so far on my own. Anyway, if you're not interested in watching this, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and jump on to episode 5 once that's up, and I will see you there. But if you're still here, let's go ahead and check out this tool and see what we can figure out about the game. Anyway, let's go over to Marignon over here. Middle age. And by the way, fair warning, it will be pretty slow because I kind of want to understand what I'm looking at here, right? So we're looking at Marignon right now. National units only, so only what they can get on their own. But I'm going to start by looking at the units. So basically, these are the units they can get right away when they start the game. And that's going to be the ones, maybe we'll hopefully, well, you know, they can recruit more units elsewhere in new provinces, but I think there's going to be quite a few of these. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. I'm going to sort by gold. And by the way, this is a free tool. If you haven't used it before, I'll put a link in it below so you can check it out yourself. All right, as you can see here, it costs 10, most of them actually. Let's start by looking at, maybe not, we'll sort by, let's sort by resources instead. Let's look at the flagellant over here. It's a very special unit, I think. As you can see, it has a weapon, but no armor at all. Protection is 0, low defense, pretty cheap, right? Has a flail, but here's what it can do. It's sacred. So any kind of bless you have for Marignon, you can apply that to them. So that's something we have to see what that actually means in the game. Alright, that's the one unit. That's really the only one that doesn't have any protection. All of the other ones tend to have really good protection. The crossbowman, while it doesn't have great protection, it's still pretty good for a missile unit, right? And this crossbowman is going to be better than our Nabaean Desert Warrior. You can see here it has a range of 40, a damage of 8, and you get a bonus of +2. In precision, and then it also is armor piercing. So when you do attack and it do hit, they get to the right square and they hit one of my units, I can only count half of my armor to protect against the damage. And if you compare that against, well, let's go ahead and do that actually. We'll compare it against Naba here, the Desert Warrior. Here you can see here, if you pull up the short bow as well as the crossbow, the range is worse for us. The damage is less. No precision attack, and we're not doing armor piercing as well. So there's no way we can compete. They cost 10 gold and 8 resources. Ours cost 8 and 7. Now we have other bonuses here, right? Skirmisher, pillage bonus, stealthy, but when it comes to firing those arrows or bolts, the crossbowman's going to win every time. And like with any other kind of ranged unit, I think that you need to have a lot of them to do real damage. Short of having magic weapons, magic bows or crossbows, you're not going to do much damage with just having a couple of these units. You're going to have a ton of them. So we'll see what we can do about that. My problem here, right, with the crossbow is that it's armor piercing. They can do some serious damage. They're pretty dangerous, I think. Okay, that is the crossbowman. Going down the list, well, let's actually go back up to Marignon. There. So that's what the crossbowman. What about the pikeneer, halberdier, and swordsman? Let's look at them. So the pikeneer has a... well, actually, let's look at the halberdier first, I think. It has a halberd here, and it is a range 3, or length 3 weapon, so they can repel. So before we even attack, they get a chance to kind of offset our attack there. And they have a good protection. Defense is average. But the protection is important because that's what you check when you fire a missile at them. And we're going to be doing that, right? If we have the Nabaean Desert Warriors, they have a lot of protection, so the damage is going to be offset. It's going to be really, really hard to do damage on the Halberdier. Now, the Pikeneer is very similar, right? It has also protection 14. A little bit worse defense there, but it has a pike, and a pike has length 5. So they can really repel, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Neither one of them has a shield, though. So if you do fire an arrow at them, they can't use the shield, and that's really important to determine if you hit at all. So that is a weakness, right? Even though the protection is high, which is offsetting the damage of the arrow, there's no shield which will offset the chance to hit. And then we have, that was the Halberdier and Pikeneer. Then we also have the Swordsman. Again, no shield. Good protection. A little bit better defense there. Has a great sword. So it's a slashing damage instead of piercing. Length 2. So again, it can do repel there. They're all very similar, I feel, these units here. And then finally we have the best, not finally, but we have the best unit on foot, and that's the Man-at-Arms. Again, no, he does have a shield. This one does have a shield. An average shield, nothing special. Protection 15, defense 13, it's a really good unit. If you're running through these, it's going to be a problem. I imagine they're going to be used as bodyguards mostly, though, because they have that bodyguard 2 skill. So I think they're going to be very effective. If we have an assassin, which we don't, then they're going to be hard to break through anybody guarded by these units. Because the way it works, I believe, is that if you have a bodyguard that's especially good, like with a bodyguard skill, they are more likely to show up when you attack whoever you're attacking. They're more likely to show up and protect whoever they're protecting. Okay, so that's that. That is the units on foot. We also have 2 units on horse here, Knights of the Chalice and the Royal Guard. And the Royal Guard is the non-sacred unit of the 2. And as you can see here, they have full plate mail, full helmet, kite shield, 3 weapons, one of them being a lance. And you know, the lance, the way it works is that it has a damage bonus on the first attack. And I think it's the combat speed divided by 3, so 7 more damage first time. But then it's spent. First time in a battle, then it's gone. Then they will have to attack with a broadsword and hoof, but still 2 attacks from there on. So if we find ourselves fighting them, what we need to have, I think, like a line of inexpensive units in the front that will just stand there and take the charge, and take that lance charge, and then our other units will run forward and engage, right? I think that would be a good idea. Going down the list, what we have on more, Knights of the Chalice. That is their only sacred unit, if you don't count the flagellants over here. So they're also very good. 18 protection, 15 defense, size 3, 14 hit points, very, very solid. A lance again, massive armor, and they get the bless. So for Marignon, it seems like it would be very useful to have a good bless and have these units as tanks, basically rolling right through enemies with their lance and then engaging them with a broadsword and hoof. Now again, we would have to have some kind of chaff unit. The ones we have right now would be the Nabaean Desert Warrior. I don't know. Well, maybe if we don't we have something like Lion Warriors? I think we do. In some province. We could recruit them maybe, although we might not be able to get too many of those, but something to keep in mind. Okay, so those are the actual units they can recruit. Now let's go ahead and check out their commanders. Here are their commanders, so national only. Let's start by not looking at the summoned ones, I don't think. Yeah, let's go actually. We'll make this a little bigger. There. Wow, I gotta make it a little bit smaller actually. Okay, never mind. Ah, there. Okay, there we go. No, still missing that. Okay. I shouldn't mess around with this, should I? There, now we can see everything. Okay, let's sort by gold again and see what we get here. I'm going to skip the summon ones right away, and we're going to go down to the scout. So scout is just a normal scout, pretty much. right? It's a little more expensive than ours, actually. Ours cost 20 gold and 7 resources, I think. More expensive gold-wise, though. But anyway, going down the list, we have an architect. That's a special unit. With the architect, well, if he's sieging one of our castles, he can get a bonus there of plus 15. Same thing as if he's defending. And then he gets a modifier. Well, if you have an architect, he can build up their fortification 1 extra level. So we'll see how they use them. There's a friar next, level 1, holy. Stealthy as well, so you can do bless, basically. Nothing really special, no protection or anything. Initiate here is a fire mage, level 1. Could be used for research, right? For 7 there. You know how that works, right? You take the skill level 1, double it, so 2, add 5, that's 7. That's why he has 7 in research. And then we have a friar, same thing. We have an assassin. Okay, this is important, right? The assassin here is going to be very effective in attacking one of our commanders. So if he comes in and tries to take out Bilqis, remember Bilqis, our queen of the Nabab? If she doesn't have a bodyguard, we would have to fight him with her, and they might deck him out, right? We don't have assassins on the Nabab side of things. The benefit that they get is that there are going to be fewer guard units guarding, right? So that's going to be offset, I think, though, by the Janguard. Remember our Janguard units? If we go back to Nabab. And look at the Janguard. They are bodyguard too. They're more likely to show up in case of an assassination. But then offset that by assassin, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to have to put somebody to protect my leaders, a special Bilqis and Adara, our pretender as well, right? I think we have to. The problem is, if we take them away, we're right now in a couple of battles, so that's a problem. Let's go back to the commanders, though. That's the assassin. Troubadour is another special one. Has seduction, as you can see here. Right? So if he comes in and there is a female hero of ours, commander, then we have to roll morale versus 9, or they could maybe leave and he'll get control over that unit. It would be terrible. So that is very important to take out if he has that troubadour with him. I don't know how you take him out specifically, though. Just target him. But he's fairly weak, right? Then we have an Inquisitor. That is a level 1 fire, level 2 holy. Okay, so he's going to be able to do bless. He can do quite a bit of bless. Quite a few of these units have a way to improve their dominions. He's going to be strong on the dominion side of things, pushing us back. And then that Inquisitor will also be twice as good at rejecting our dominion. If he's in a territory where we have a dominion, and he doesn't, then he is very effective at pushing us out. Then the Paladin over here is a level 1, holy, but he's sacred, so you can get those blesses, right? And leadership 80, so it's pretty good. A pretty good leader to keep around. And the Witch Hunter is a level 1 astral, level 2 fire, and level 1 holy. Can be used, I guess, as a researcher with 11 points. Yeah. Leadership is 50. No protection, obviously, right? But he also gets... I wonder if he gets... he's sacred. Okay, just sacred. Okay, that's fine. High Inquisitor. Yep, so Inquisitor, again, just like the Inquisitor, the High Inquisitor will give that bonus to getting rid of dominions that's not there. So leadership 125. He can have quite a few units. Level 1 fire, though, only. But he can cast, a Divine Blessing for everybody, not just for a single unit. And then finally, the Grandmaster. He is a level 3 fire, level 2 astral, level 2 holy. And then he gets a bonus of 1 more, I think, right? Yeah, 1 more or maybe 2 more. Okay, those are the commanders. Then going down the list to summoned units. These are going to be angels, and it's going to take him quite a bit. If you look at these here, just real quick, if you look at Seraph here, you can look at down in this area right here, you can see Conjuration level 9. He doesn't have them here. They're basically, they have no protection, decent defense, and then they have a resistance here, and awe. Going to be very, very hard to take them on. Very hard, I think. Harbinger over here, same thing. Awe. Awe. They all have awe. And they are flying. It's similar to our units, right? You can see some of them here have fire. Fire and air. Yeah. So he can deck them out, right? If he gets enough equipment. Without that, it's going to be kind of tricky for him, right? Although they have some good magic skills there. Now, what does he have for hero? Or yeah, magic. What does he have for heroes? These are the ones that show up like Bilkis, right? Oh, he's got 4 of them. Tommaso del Monferrata, Witch Hunter General, Sacred Mounted Inquisitor. He's good at getting rid of Dominion then. Combat Caster, level 3 Fire, level 2 Astral, level 2 Holy as well. Protection decent, defense good. He's very good. Leadership very high. He can, lead an army of those Knights of the Chalice, right? Graphite Scholar. So it's a scholar here, yeah, definitely. 27 in research. 2 fire, 2 earth, and 2 astral. So we'll get into earth with him. But very weak. 4 protection, 8 defense. You don't want him in the battlefield. He cannot lead anybody anyway. The heroine over here, Angelique Darmont. She can have units under her, so she's fast on the battlefield. Mounted and female. So if you have a male troubadour, you could try to seduce her, right? But we don't have that, so. Protection is low. Oh, okay, low, very low. Okay. But a golden shield. Parry 5, okay. You can deck her out, though, with more stuff, which you want to do, right? And then Cardinal Carmont over here. So it's modeled after France, right? In the Middle Ages, I guess, Sacred Inquisitor. Again, he can use this guy to... Oh, look at that, level 4 Holy. To root out our Dominion. Okay, yeah. Alright, that is the units of Marignon. I'll show you now what I thought maybe we can do. I have no idea if this is going to work. It's just one idea that I have. Tell me if you know. Tell me if this is going to work. So we have units of Marignon that has a lot of protection, but not very much shield. So they're not going to be effective in actually... what does that do again? The shield. The shield actually does make it harder to hit, right? That you can block with a shield. So that is how that works. So they're going to be easier to hit than you might think, because they only have the protection, right? So here's what I'm thinking. If we go back to our units, to the Nabaa over here. And we'll go down to, see, we only have Bilkis over here. We go to the units, and then we'll go pull up, not units, commanders. And here's what I was thinking. You see this Nabaean scout over here, right? Nothing special, right? I mean, he's stealthy, pillage bonus and whatnot. He's very inexpensive. Resources 7, but gold 20. And gold is the upkeep cost, right? He is not sacred, though. He's not sacred, but he has a pretty low upkeep cost of 20. So it's not going to cost too much to keep. So I'm thinking, what if we get a couple of these? And then, for each one of them, or maybe the Sheik over here. No, he's not sacred either. And he is much more expensive. Yeah. If we get the Scout, and the reason I'm getting him is because he's so cheap, upkeep is going to be very low, right? So what we'll do is, we'll get, if you notice here, they have a bow, right? Precision 10. If we were to get an item here, let me go find it. I'm going to pick a missile weapon here. Construction, let's go 2 here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I have to click on that. There we go. Okay, now here. So if you look here, if you look from construction 0 to construction 2, that's what I want to do. Yeah, look at that. Look here. We have a true shot longbow. It will be a level 1 air, and we can get that, right? We have a lot of units. If I pull that up here and go back to our units, and I go to the commanders. Yeah, we have the commanders here. Look at this here. The Jinn, well, the Jinn, for instance, is level 2 air. We can also use the maybe easier Hermit Sahir, level 1. here, we can create these true shot longbow pretty easily, right? We already have level 2 in conjuration. In construction, I mean, is what we need. And once we do that, what does that give us? Well, damage 12, if you compare that to the bow, short bow here, that they not naturally come with, that's 6 damage. So 12, double the damage. Range 50 instead of 35, great. And precision 30. This is going to determine how far away we can hit without deviating, right? And I think the way it works is that you take their precision, 30 plus 10, 40, divided by 20, divided by 2. And that's pretty much how far away you can be and be guaranteed that the arrow is going to hit where that unit intended it to hit. If you don't hit there, then you're going to have to calculate how far away it hits, either in front or in back, left or right. So we want this number to be really high. And then we can guarantee the arrow is going to land in the right spot at least. So that would do that, the true shot longbow. And then we would have to hope after that the damage would be enough. But it is much higher than the damage for the short bow. So let's say we do that. We'll give him this weapon here, true shot longbow. That's 5 air gems. Yeah, it's kind of expensive. I mean, considering we only make 1 air right now, didn't we lose? Yeah, we lost that one province that gave us another air, wasn't it? Let's take that back. But anyway, there's another option. That's this one here. And here's what I want to see if anybody has an idea. If you compare these two, if I were to get those, assuming this is something we want to do, the piercer over here, also damage 12. Range is not as good, 35 only, right? Precision is not as good. It's 10 versus 30. So the range is going to be, 10, 20. It's going to be like much closer before. You can't go very far before it starts to deviate, which might not matter as much. If there's a lot of the enemy units, they still will hit something, right? But still. And then ammunition is the same, but it has something interesting. Armor negating. That means, remember, they don't have shields, right? So we only have to contend with the protection value of the enemy, and that's pretty high, right? So when we hit with this one, there's no guarantee we're going to actually do any damage. But with this one, if we do hit, we're going to do damage. They don't have any shield. They don't have any armor here because of this. Just a die roll, right? That they're going to have to roll. Hopefully it's enough. So if we hit, we're going to be in good shape. Problem is, we don't know if we're going to hit here, right? Although here's what I'm thinking too. Imagine the armies or our units are attacking, right? So after a little while, they're going to be in melee. If we have our scout here decked out with a piercer, he's going to be right behind him, behind the frontline units. He can fire, and it's going to be within range anyway. Plus, later on, we can use this as an underwater weapon. But it does cost an extra 5 earth gems on top of that 5 air gems. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a viable idea. Actually, let's do this. We'll take the piercer here, and we'll take that one there. Okay, what else am I thinking about here? Oh, yeah. So let's say we have a couple of these guys. I'm thinking about getting a couple of them so you can mass these in the battle. And then we find out we're fighting against the crossbowmen. Remember, they have pretty good range, armor piercing. It's going to be, they could easily die. What can we do against that? There's a couple different things we can do. Let me go to miscellaneous items here. Construction level 2. I'll put it down here. And I'm looking for something called Amulet of Missile Protection. There it is. This one here is effectively the same thing as doing Air Shield. Air Shield gives you an 80% chance of avoiding a bow, a bolt, or an arrow. But it costs 10 air gems to forge that. That's pretty expensive. There's also something that might be better, and that is in the armor section. This one. It's also level 2 in construction, but it's only 1 air gem required, and it gives you the same thing, and it also gives you a 3 protection. I guess the reason you would not use this one, missile protection, you would use the amulet instead, is if you want to have a unit in the front line, normally, you want to have more than 3 protection, right? You don't want to waste that armor spot for something like this. But we're going to keep it in the back anyway. Why not get the robe? It's cheaper, right? Let's see if we do that. We'll put that down here. That's what I'm thinking anyway. And then, I'm thinking of something else too. If we go to the, and it's going to be, I mean, it's all adding up, right, in number of gems. Can we really get all this? If I go to items and we go to boots, and what am I looking at for here? Boots of long strides. That's a construction 0. This one. So this one here, I believe, not just map move, but it'll also give you a bonus to your combat move. But the map move is what I'm looking for, because imagine if we have a couple of these guys, Nabian scouts, right? Decked out with that two-shot longbow with a piercer, missile protection, they can be in the back. We can kind of fare them back and forth between our armies. We don't have to have that many of them. They'd be fast. Just a couple of these guys, 3 or 4 of them, going back and forth. Now, the problem here is, obviously, we need 5 nature gems. Now, we have one area, remember that? The Lion Tribe of Witch Doctor or something like that? He's a level 1 nature mage. If we get one of those, and we're gaining 1 of these gems per turn, we could maybe get that out there. So they would have the Boots of Long Strides as well. Okay, so that's something I'm thinking about for the scout. Now, something else we could do, potentially. When you are attacking somebody, the chance that you're hitting somebody is affected by that unit's fatigue. If we can bring up the fatigue, that would be great, I think. And the way to do that, we have a special spell here. If you go to Evocations, I think it is. Let me look at my notes. It's Evocation level 4. Scorching Wind. Look at this one. It's level 2 air, level 1 fire. Takes 30 fatigue if you're not in air. If you're not, if you're only level 2. If you're level 3, then we'll take only 15. But this one here does, I don't know how good it is, but range 40, takes 1 turn, 6 squares affected, I think it is, right? 1 per level. I think that's what that means anyway. And fatigue 30. And then dehydrate 250. And that means that affected units gets 2d8 fatigue damage each turn. And I think, if I remember correctly from the manual, isn't the modifier to hit somebody with a ranged weapon modified by their fatigue divided by 20? Something like that. So if they get 2d8, then we get about average of 8 every turn. If they're not fortunate enough to roll this modifier here, the magic resistance, then they would not be affected. So we could have somebody go and do that. Somebody who's level 3 maybe in air. Who would that be? Commanders. Well, it's all busy here, but let's look. Level 3 in air. Who would that be? Bring it down here. Well, we have Bilkis, right? She could be there, cast that, and she could do a couple of those and keep on bringing down, bringing down their fatigue or bringing up their fatigue, and then they would be, fatigue is also good for another thing. Every 10 points of fatigue you have, you lose 1 defensive skill, and that's great. And every 20 points of fatigue you have, you lose 1 attacking skill as well. So that would be a good one to get, and we could get that one. But in order to do that, yeah, we would have to have the Bilkis. Or what we could do is, here's what I'm thinking as well. This spell over here, Scorching Wind, takes level 2 air, right? But if you're on level 2, you're going to be taking a full 30 fatigue. You really want to be level 3. And I'm thinking I'm going to have a lot of these djinns here, right? They're level 2. But if we could bring that up somehow, and here's what I'm thinking. There is another item here. Let me see if I have my notes. It's called Matrix something. Crown of Matrix. Matrix Crown, something like that. Helmet. Is it a helmet? No, it's not a helmet. It's miscellaneous, I think. Let me see if I can find it. No, it's called Crystal Matrix. Let's see if I can find it here. Crystal Matrix. Construction 4. Okay, but that's fine. We're going to be at Construction 4. There it is. Look at this one here. It grants the mage the ability to command a communion. So like the Jinn, even though the Jinn normally cannot do it, here, they cannot normally do it because they don't have astral, right? But if you have this one here, they can command a communion. They can command other communion slaves, right? And if you have enough of them, you get to increase your skills. So if he has 2 of them, he goes up in 1 in both fire and air. And level 3 air would mean he'd only spend 15 fatigue casting that scorching wind over here, right? So we could use 2 of those Mukarib's units. Remember that? I almost have too many things going on here, right? The Mukarib over here, see this one? Level 1 astral. So we can pull on their power to use his skills, right? So that would be tempting. If we were to have 4 of them, then he would go up 2 levels as well. Plus we would pull of their fatigue instead of his own. So that's good. And I think that's what I'm thinking, right? So basically have that scout, deck him out, have a Jinn in there maybe, and have him do a fatigue, inducing things. I mean, this is just one thing that I thought of. I'm sure there's other things, or it's a waste of time. Look at how many gems I'm going to have to use for this, right? A ton of them, right? And I need a couple of these good archers. 1 is not enough, but although you can say fire on the rearmost enemy, right? So you can take out their leaders maybe, but maybe only having 2 of them would be enough. 2 of these super scouts with true shot longbow or their piercer. But anyway, I'm out of time, so that's as far as I got. Let me know what you think, and if you have any ideas, and I'll for sure take a look at it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next episode.